This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
Hit Back with Nahaja Black is sponsored by the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, BTC, Boost Academy, Iraq X, Nassau Motor, J.S. Johnson, and the Water and Sewage Department.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. Welcome to the Hit Back. I'm your host, Nahaja Black. I hope that everybody's doing well, taking care of yourself, living your best life today. All right. It's a happy Friday. Is anyone else excited that it's Friday, that it's the end of the week? A very long week, right? A very long week. And really, I just am happy for this weekend. I'm happy that we get a chance to just sit back, analyze, prepare for what is ahead. For those who, those who are disaffected. And I want to say this because I think it's important that we always remember where we are. Where we are now is where we were 2 days prior, where we were yesterday, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of where people are struggling to breathe. Dr. Dwayne Sands said, it was reported yesterday, and more stricter measures, meaning we are now to the place where a lockdown may be the next step to save lives, the only step left to save lives. The elections is good distraction, but it is a distraction. Don't forget that we are in the middle of a health crisis where being overweight is a comorbidity, right? Where not just being overweight, but being morbidly obese is a comorbidity. Where in our country, we are filled with the necessary, comorbidities to make this thing lethal. Something that we should be able to, ward off and fight off. And the majority of us will. Right now, I think the numbers show that 78% of us, but that means 22%. That's a high number. It's not 10%. It's not, it's not 15%, 5%, but 20-odd% of us will not win this battle. 330 deaths registered now. But we have questions like, what about persons who go home and die from respiratory ailments? What about those persons who were in the hospital for something else, contracted COVID whilst in the hospital, and then passes away? Are they ranked as COVID deaths or deaths with COVID? Like how are they ranked, right? Because I think the number is more startling. What about the people who are on the Family Islands who can't get home? Who can't get to New Providence for more severe medical help? What about the people in New Providence who can't get a room or a bed in any of the hotels, in particular PMH? So we are struggling, and I want everybody please to be safe. Yesterday, heading out of my house for yesterday evening for a show, and I didn't even know where. It was like ninja moves, a ninja. It was as if there was some sort of what was the Bewitched chick when, she would twinkle her nose from Bewitched and then magic would happen. It was as if that moment we had a magical moment and all of a sudden red signs were everywhere, right? I think it's the mantra is, it's about your future. It's your future, something like that. Red signs were everywhere. By the time I came home, yellow signs were right next to the red signs. Y'all out on the road today? All you're seeing is signage. And, so that is where the attention will most likely be. But it can't shift for us. We must be mindful that we have to stay socially distant. We have, this is for your sake or not for your sake, your loved one's sake. It doesn't change our economic position. It doesn't change our health position. What it is right now is a time and a process where we have to go through. Let the parties work. Let them work. You don't work extra. Don't get riled up. Don't go to any, I don't think they're having rallies. I don't think they are. So from your home, do your reading, do your research, figure out what it is that you want, and then we go from there. In the meantime, we have serious matters to deal with. The government is still the government. The government still exists. It has to function. So we have to find out what is the plan still with the sick out. We're on day 8. Day 8 of a sick out. Day 8 where people at the hospital is not properly staffed. Day 8 and lives hang in the balance. What is the resolution to the sick out? What are we in terms of our confidence? Is the ministry still functioning to try and resolve these issues, or are we waiting 4 weeks? I know that the emergency orders, we have Exuma moved to an 8 o'clock, Aplico moved to an 8 o'clock lockdown. So that is an acknowledgement that things are getting progressively worse. I got a message from persons working in BAMSI asking for help, saying, okay, we're concerned that this is a ticking time bomb here. There's no contact tracing. We're concerned about our health. And, they're alleging that they can't work without, if they get sick, they can't leave. Now, I'm still waiting to confirm that, but this is what people are coming out of Andros with. I have folks out of Long Island saying, Nahaja, there's no contact tracing. We know people are sick, but no one is contact tracing, so people are quarantining on their own, which is good, but then others aren't. So there's still a lot going on. Furloughed workers from Atlantis are still saying, what about us? 2 years in, almost 2 years of not working. I'm too old now to get another job, right? I'm too old or I'm overqualified. But I'm furloughed, so I can't get the money that's owed to me. And, so there's a lot of things going on. And so we can't get distracted in this time. We cannot get distracted in this time. So, that is one of those things I hope that we are mindful of. Stay mindful of the fact that we cannot afford to get distracted and lose focus of what's really going on. What's really going on is we are still in a health crisis. You cannot afford to get sick. If you're the sole breadwinner, stay safe. Man, people love you, stay safe. That's the goal. If you are, you're loved, stay safe. And we need all, and that's for all of our party people. Please social distance. I know you're excited now, but everyone stay out of the little houses, the little, what do you call it? Constituency head offices. Stay out of those head offices, man. Y'all do the small groups and gatherings for your sake. So y'all don't gather like that, not indoors. Try to go outdoors and gather safely, right? Because that is important. We want everyone to get through this process, to be healthy, to be safe, and that we have a very safe and healthy election in the next 4 weeks, right? So we got a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of stuff to connect to. I have a guest that I can't wait to bring on. One of the things that I love about this show and I love about us is that Bahamians are all across the world and we all have our expertise. And I got a chance I was introduced to this doctor, Bahamian doctor. She's in New Orleans, frontline doctor working, and she's a pediatrician and pediatric, what is it? No, not pathologist. It's another P word. I got it. I've written it down. When I reread it, you'll know. But so she's really brilliant, and she'll be joining us on the show, Dr. K. Joy Sims. And so I'm looking forward to having her on the show because we're going to be talking a bit about this COVID's effect on young people, on children, COVID itself, working on the front line. In particular, you guys know that Louisiana, New Orleans is having its own issues, struggling with its own outbreak and pandemic of this dealing with COVID-19. And then we want to talk about how do we in the Bahamas, with the way we are built, the way we are shaped, how do we deal with it? Elections are coming. What protocols should we put in place for this COVID-19 process? So those are things that we're going to be talking about here. Something else though. Someone said, we're in a sad place. You read on that. But it's the weekend and I'm with Pedro. It's the weekend. And I don't know what y'all going to try and do this weekend. But I will tell you, we got 4 weeks, y'all. 4 weeks. I got a question for you. Do you know the candidates in your constituency? 4 weeks. Do you know the candidates in your constituency? All of them, because there's a lot of them. I want you to tell me you know the mean too. I want to know if you know all of the candidates in your constituency. So, that's what we're going to be doing. For the rest of this, we're going to have constituents, candidates throughout the constituencies joining us. And I want to know if you know your constituent. So I want you to text me. I want you to call. Let me know which constituency you're in. And if you want the candidates for your constituency to join me on the show. What do you know about your candidates? What do you want your candidates to know about you? What are you hoping for? I look dead good over there in Pine Ridge. Freddie Mac looking solid. You don't hear Freddie song? Boy, Freddie sound good. Freddie out there dollar whining and hang with his constituents. Don't let them people catch COVID, Freddie. Social distance. I'm just saying. But Freddie look good, boy. That's one independent that might make it. And my boy Reese. Y'all better vote for Reese in Centerville. Got my eye on all y'all Centerville people. Y'all like bad treatment. And plus, we'll see. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, tell me about your constituency. I got a list. And I want to hear from you. I got a list of all of these candidates in your constituency. Do you know them? You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. We'll be back right after.
Got prostate cancer. My family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. It's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Are you ready? August 23rd at 9 a.m., you can begin investing with as little as $25 in an international technology company and an international food franchise on awakx.com. What do you need to get started? Just go to awakx.com to sign up by clicking on Start Investing. So what are you waiting for? Let's go! AWACX, moving people from consumers to owners. Regulated by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
First look at traffic now, and it's Friday, all right. Even though we've got overcast skies and intermittent rains across the island, the amount of traffic moving about takes us back. Haven't seen this look in afternoon traffic for a while, but now lots of thoroughfares are quite busy. Lots of stop-and-go traffic moving about. The ride in the west, bumper to bumper in some places. Definitely stop and go from Nassau Street all the way into the roundabout on West Bay Street there at that Saunders Beach roundabout. Traffic coming into that roundabout from the south side. That's New Providence Avenue, also weighing that circle down. Once you get clear of that roundabout, though, it's a free ride into the west. Inner city traffic for University Drive, getting into the Ponciana and Nassau Street roundabout. Traffic is heavy in both lanes, even all along Ponciana Drive into Wolf Road. As you head east on Wolf Road, then you've got East Street, Collins Avenue, Palmdale, and Mackey Street, all with heavy traffic flows for a Friday afternoon. Center of the city area, the congestions are coming off the Blue Hill Road and East Street South corridors headed into the south. And that Friday busy traffic can be seen all along Carmichael Road, giving you a slow ride into the southwest. East Street south of Soldier Road with that heavy flow. You've got Soldier Road itself on the curve by Abundant Light traffic light, busy as well. And in the southwest area, you've got heavy traffic line leaving Gladstone Road, heading into that JFK Bahama roundabout. Overall, it's one of the heaviest afternoon for traffic that we've seen for a while. You've got to pay due care and attention moving about on here today. This National Traffic Report brought to you this hour by the folks over at J.S. Johnson. You're invited to check out J.S. Johnson Online Service Center app. There you can view policy details, check outstanding balances, report a claim, and more. Sign up today at jsjohnsononline.com. With your Rider Sky look at traffic in real time, I'm V.A. Double Ad.
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Prudential Loss Adjusters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. from auto, life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance. Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. I got so many videos. Someone said, I left my house. At 2 hours ago. At 2. And just came back. No, but she said, I left my house. Not a sign on the road. When I came back, 50 signs on my corner alone. I mean, I'm looking in Nassau Village. They got signs behind the people's bumpers. Like stick it right there. You get a sign. You get a sign. You get a sign. So y'all ain't getting $50 in a t-shirt no more. This ain't that season. Just ain't nobody on the road to give a t-shirt to. Y'all getting signs. What a time. I can't lie to y'all. This sign gate. How is it looking in Grand Bahama? Grand Bahama, send me some photos, please. Grand Bahama, your roads dirty with signs too? Because I tell you, boy, I go on to bed 1 minute. I come on my house. It was 6 p.m. I don't even know when them Ninja F&Ms put all of them red signs down the road. Then I saw when I was leaving, the poor lady holding up 2 signs, them two yellow signs. I figured I just must be calling and say, Jesus, all of the signs down here. So you see the lady holding 2 signs, 2 yellow signs. When I came back home, which was after 9, man, the road dirty, yellow and red. Now I'm waiting for my DNA green sign because I figure the budget ain't as big. And this was a snap election, which is unfair to the small groups, by the way. Small groups, I feel for y'all, But some of y'all say y'all had money. So now let's see how the spending go. Some of the small groups, I know the KGM said they're ready. They're ready. They flush. They're going to make this happen. I'm waiting to see what the KGM does. I know that the DNA is kind of, short on the funding. These trickery thingies. But they are also, you want content over the trickery stuff, right? Content over but this is a part of campaigning, right? So the joke is it's funny as heck. Anyone in Grand Bahama, please share your photos. I saw Freddie Mac doing his thing. Freddie McAlpine had cars doing his parade. Okay, y'all don't sleep. Pastor Mac gonna be in the House of Assembly again, vexing whomever's in charge. Watch. He will be the thorn in somebody else's side when he wins again in the House of Assembly. Shout out to Pastor Frederick McAlpine. Blueberry full of red signs. My God. Full. Ruth, tell him. This is entertainment, eh? At least it's entertainment. All right. So something, we got a few, so all of the constituencies, right? We got, oh God, how many? 40 constituencies, 39 constituencies, right? Bain and Grantstown, Bamboo Town, Carmichael, Elizabeth, Centerville, Engliston, Fort Charlotte, Fox Hill. I think that's going to be interesting. And I just want to talk about the areas where there are leaders running for right now, right? But interesting race will be Carmichael. Carmichael, Keith Bell, Arinthia Kumalafe. And so that's Desmond Banner for the Free National Movement, Keith Bell for the PLP, Arinthia Kumalafe, leader of the DNA, Teacher Knowles, Coalition of Independence candidate. I don't see anyone for the Bahamas Constitution Party, the BDM. And I think we have Samuel Johnson for the KGM and no independents. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 folks running for Carmichael. I think, of course, you definitely watch that. A hard seat, an interesting seat, and I think an interesting seat where the third party might actually, I don't know if they'll do well. I can't say, but I think that it's always interesting to watch. I think Maria Daxon in Bamboo Town is interesting to watch for the Coalition of Independence. Of course, Renwood Wells is there. Patricia DeVoe for the PLP. Dion Pratt for the Bahamas Constitution Party. Payless Lockhart for the KGM. I don't think many people know Dion Pratt, Payless Lockhart, and I'm not familiar with Patricia DeVoe, but this is what is going to be interesting in this election. And when we have Lincoln Bain is running in Pinewood against Reuben Ramming, the incumbent, Miles LaRota for the Progressive Liberal Party, Stephen Nesbitt, who I think is the deputy leader of the DNA, and Sonnet Lockhart from the KGM. Halson Moultrie, don't forget, he's in Nassau Village. Ive Davis, okay, well, we got Ali McIntosh for Garden Hills, Stephen Greenslade for the Free National Movement, Mario Bowleg for the PLP, and that's it for, and Garden Hills, Boykin Smith, Boykin who left, is that Garden Hills? Yeah, Boykin Smith who left the DNA is now running as an independent there in Garden Hills. The Right Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, of course, for Kalani, and Ronald Duncombe for the PLP will be going against him. I have a list here that says Omar Smith, who was the former chairman of the Democratic National Alliance, is still running. I'm not certain about that. Rashay Sands is running. Shaquille Johnson is for the Bahamas Constitution Party. Yeah, and that's it. But I think that's going to be quite interesting there with Omar Smith. But I think, listen, top sledding in Kalani. Anyone? Well, see, I'm from Kalani. So we'll see how Kalani works. I think Lincoln and Daxon. Someone said, I don't think Daxon secured her seat. I think Daxon secured her seat. Someone says, I think Lincoln and Daxon got their seat. It'll be interesting to see. We got, and also Philip Brave Davis. He is in Cat Island, Rum, and San Salvador. Felicia Knowles of the Free National Movement. And I need to make sure that this is Free National Movement, Philip Brave Davis. Angelino Cooper, he's with the Coalition of Independents. And that's it. So it's those three. So really, PLP, FNM, and that one. That's that race. And I think that Mr. Davis has that seat. So those are just the leaders there. So where's the Kingdom Government leader? The KGM leader, Dr. King. He is running in East Grand Bahama against Kwesi Thompson for the FNM, James Turner Rowe for the PLP, Albertha Cooper, that's my Grammy name, sorry, for the Coalition of Independents, C. Maria Nemore Jones, Bahamas Constitution Party. So yeah, what we're seeing now, and I keep closing everything. What we're seeing now, someone says Bamboo Town gone yellow. We'll see. We will see about that. We got a call on the line before we get to our guest. Caller, you're on the hit back. Welcome.
Yes, good evening, Nahaja. How are you? You're so excited. So am I.
How are you, my friend?
I am full of enthusiasm, and I'm ready to go. Ready to give Mr. Minnis what I promised him. This is the inner city finance. Here in Barnabas, we've got a new Minister of Finance, Mr. Haltier. Yes, we've got a good MP, but we've got a better one that's going to be our new Minister of Finance. Okay, I would like for Mr. Minnis to stay in that House of Assembly so he can sit there and answer those questions. Where did our money go? Okay, from the time he found the vast money and what he did with it, and then he increased it, and what he did with that money, then Dorian's money, and then Pajo's money, and then the $4 billion that he borrowed. I would like to know where they went.
Well, you think he didn't answer them before. Now you think he'll answer them now? I don't know, caller. I don't know. I mean, I hear you. I think it'll be tough to have Dr. Sands. I mean, not Dr. Sands. Dr. Minnis, the Right Honorable Hubert Minnis, removed. He will not lose his seat in Kalani, I don't think. I think that Brave Davis is a shoo-in. Rinthia Kumalafe is the leader of the DNA. I think that is a tough one for her with going against Desmond Bannister and Keith Bell because of the PLP FNM dynamic right now. Who will carry that? I think that she would be great in the House of Assembly. Personally, I would like to see Rinthia Kumalafe in the House of Assembly. That's just me, my personal thing. So that is something I hope it's a very vigorous fight and that she pulls off the big feat. For Arinthia Kumalafe to get into the House of Assembly would be marvelous, and not just marvelous, but wonderful for the DNA. If she alone can be that one to win the seat. Needless to say, what my comrade said earlier or last night on Clint Show, y'all don't mind all of that extra talk. Arinthia needs to get into the House of Assembly. Just throw that out there. All right, now let's switch gears, because this is something we are going to, starting next week. We'll be doing 2 constituencies. We will try our best to get as many guests. Well, we have only so many times, so we see how best we can do it. Try to get as many of the candidates as we can to give us just a brief 10 minutes if they can. If not, we'll try our best to get the bios and talk about them. My good friend C.A. Nuri will be riding with me for a while during this month, so that we are definitely on the ball. And we have to still be mindful that we're in COVID times. My guest, though, and I'm very excited to have her on the show with us, because I just love the fact that we get to chat with really with brilliant people here and abroad. So you all know that this past year, we have had so many doctors on this show across so many qualifications and spheres. We've had every scientist I think we could find. Someone says only one person in my constituency matters, and that's Reverend Lee. I like UK. We can talk about that too. But we got joining us Dr. Joy, and I can't wait, Dr. Joy, K. Joy Sims. Dr. Sims, how are you?
I am good, Nahaja. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's great to be here. And I just want to say publicly that I'm a fan. And I think that you do a great job with getting good information to the Bahamian public.
Listen, I thank you so much. And I know, and I appreciate the time. I know that you are, abroad working and living your best life there in the state of Louisiana. And so thank you so much for the time and for what I hope and I know to be a very riveting conversation, right? Because we're talking obviously COVID-19, right? And being on the front line of COVID-19, but its peculiarities. COVID is shown to be very much a nemesis, right, for the whole world. The way it is coming in and really engulfing us and rapturing us in its behavior. We are conduits to its killing spree, right? We are a part of it. It's kind of hijacked us to be a part of this deadly encounter. From your standpoint, Dr. Sims, how is what we're going through so amazing in its behavior, or like it's, in historical sense, how significant is it what we're going through in a medical perspective?
Nahaja, I think that you said it so well. We've never seen anything like this before. This is the first time I've experienced something like this in my lifetime. I don't know if it will be the last or not, but I think it causes all of us to stop, kind of take stock and assess what's going on and how do we better prepare ourselves for something like this in the future, while at the same time kind of, making progress as we move along in this entire venture. This has been interesting, to say the least. I just think of myself in terms of the learning curve for physicians and nurses between last year, this time, and this year. It's been so steep. We've had to learn so much more about COVID-19. We've had to learn so much more about how you care for patients with this disease, what to recommend to families, what to recommend to patients. So it's been such a steep learning curve. I do not think that we'll ever forget this experience. I think very shortly we'll start referring to the pre-COVID and the post-COVID era. Yeah. It's going to be, we're going to use COVID to kind of give reference to everything after this pandemic is over, which I hope at some point it ends. Those are my thoughts.
When we look at it, Dr. K. Joy Sims joining us, one of the peculiarities of this disease, this virus or disease, or whatever, I guess it's good to call it a virus. Are we allowed to call it a disease? No, right? It's a virus.
SARS-CoV-2 is the virus and COVID-19 is the disease.
Oh, thank you. Look at that. I know it was somewhere in the middle there. With this disease, COVID-19, it has been peculiar. 1 minute it's not affecting children. The other minute it is affecting children. And for me as a parent, I am very concerned. Learning even with Dr. Sansa, there are more young people, teenagers, children in the hospital because of COVID-19. As a pediatrician, you have seen it now. You're working on the front line with this. What have you been seeing with regards to COVID-19 and our kids?
Nahaja, I would say that it has been so different this wave than waves before. We have seen a huge increase in our hospitalizations for pediatric patients. On a daily basis now, we're looking at about 8 to 20 patients. About half of them are sick enough to need life support, be on a ventilator, and have, the similar disease as adults. Just to kind of put it in perspective for you, how much this has grown to be a problem. We know that about 4.4 million cases, pediatric cases that is, have occurred really since the start of the pandemic. We know that in the last week, I was on a prior talk show, and the prior week was 94,000 cases. This week has been 121,000 cases in the United States, and this is pediatric cases.
Wow.
So that's already about a 5% increase in the last 2 weeks. It's significant. And, with that amount of cases, we have about 3 to 4% of them actually having severe illness, being sick enough to require hospitalization and some type of support that they can't get at home. And so it's pretty significant. I'm happy to say that the death rate is not as high. We still are only seeing deaths in about, 0.03% of pediatric cases. But, I always like to say the death rate isn't high until it's your kid or someone that you love, and then it's a huge number. But this is a big problem. This is a huge problem. And I think that, in pediatric hospitals especially, we got kind of like, it's not been affecting the kids much. We haven't having much problems. But now we're on our toes because it's definitely very different first waves. And school hasn't even really started. We've been in school only for about maybe a week or two. And we started to see these spike in cases, these spikes way before school started. So this is worrisome. It's very scary. And I think all parents and all persons that love a child should be afraid and taking the necessary precautions to protect them from this very, very bad disease.
What has made it different? What has changed that now we're seeing kids affected more so than before? What has changed?
So a couple of things have changed. One, we know that the Delta strain is more contagious. It's more infectious. And so versus the initial strain of COVID where one person would infect about 2 people, the Delta strain now, one person can infect about 5 people. And some people even believe it can be as much as 8 or 9 people. So you have a lot more COVID everywhere. It's the first thing. The second thing is, the CDC has not made a statement on this as yet in terms of whether or not the Delta strain is more virulent in children. But I think a lot of pediatricians on the ground are asking the question, is this disease more virulent in the pediatric population?
Meaning?
Virulent means it's more of a problem. It affects children more. It causes worse disease. It causes them to be hospitalized and need, significant support. And so we're asking the question, this is different from before. We have not seen this. So is it that there's just more COVID around in general, or is it that this disease is attacking children more? I don't know the answer to that yet, but a lot of us are curious as to what really is going on.
And then you're seeing, being a pediatrician, and of course, like I said, New Orleans is having its own issues with kids and COVID. So you guys are, that's why I thought this was a godsend, because I'm watching the news and reading the articles and everything, Associated Press, Guardian articles about these issues with kids. In particular, Louisiana having this major issue with kids and COVID. So you're seeing this on the ground, and as pediatricians, you guys are asking the question, is this affecting children differently? So is this Delta variant different from the UK variant? Are you asking that? That's what the question is now based on what you've been seeing?
Well, yes. Is it a variant that is targeting children more to have, worse disease than before? So we are asking that question. We did not see this with the first variants at all. In fact, our hospitals were empty. We didn't much children at all affected by this. So I would be interested to see what scientists come up with, what the CDC says about this, whether or not this variant has a predilection for children versus the former variants, and whether or not it's more virulent in general. I think there have been some talks that this has been more virulent in adults, and so we may start to hear talks about this having the same effect on children.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask you, Dr. Sims, about children under 12. So right now, we're in a space, Doc, where we don't have a vaccine for children under 12. And there are some parents who just are not comfortable with a vaccine for children under 12, right? So even if there was a vaccine, would they be comfortable, especially, I got girls who I show up. You got to make sure it's got a little bit more time for me, grandchildren. So there's that question. What do we do for our kids? With this concern going into a school year, how do we protect our children? So I want to ask you that on the other side of the break. All right, we've got Dr. Joy Sims joining us from Louisiana, pediatrician, and I'm going to get the other thing, pediatric something. She's brilliant, and it's another P word, and I can say it, but I can't remember it. We'll be back, though. I promise you I'll get it right on the other side of the break. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Radio, 96.9 FM.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
The Water and Sewage Corporation advises customers and residents of Cordo Avenue between Market Street and Blue Hill Road that the corporation will be carrying out improvement works for 15 days from August 18th, 2021 to September 6, 2021 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily. As a result, customers should note that they may experience some interruption in water supply, and residents and the general public should note that there will be interruptions in traffic flow around the work area daily, resulting in traffic diversions. The corporation apologizes for any inconvenience caused as they work to improve their level of service.
Hello, I'm Jermaine Kemp, a patient care assistant at Sunland Rehabilitation Center. I am one of many standing proudly on the front line of healthcare during the global COVID-19, and I am vaccinated. I made a decision to get the AstraZeneca vaccine after attending information session to learn more about it. I felt it was important to ensure that I did not spread the COVID-19 to my family, friends, and most importantly, my patients. My patients depend on me for their care, and I consider it a privilege to serve. I invite you to join me in keeping our clients, colleagues, and community safe by choosing to be vaccinated. We can do this, Bahamas. Together, we can beat COVID-19 one vaccination at a time.
This message has been brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority and the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center. This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. We've got Dr. K. Sims joining us from Louisiana. Wonderful Bahamian doctor. Wait, now I've got it right. And I said it was a P word. So you can tell I'm just the worst person ever. So she's a pediatrician and pediatric nephrologist, right? So I said P word, doc. What was that? I don't even know where they got the P word from.
I don't know either, Nahaja.
And so I was like, hey, yeah, that's another P word. I don't know. We got some questions for you. And yes, we are taking calls. So I want my callers give us until, if you can, 5 o'clock. I want to get as much of this conversation in, and then keep your questions. I want you to call and feel free to ask Dr. K. Joy Sims the questions that you have. Doc, just for the record, before I get to, that question that I left, nephrologist.
So a pediatric nephrologist is a pediatrician that cares for children with any disease of the kidney. Kidney diseases could be, they run the gamut of things. It could be congenital, they could be acquired. And so we also take care of kids with hypertension or high blood pressure. We take care of kids that need dialysis. And also we take care of kids that require a kidney transplant. And so all of those things are under my purview.
Wow. Well, you're fancy, Doc. We really are excited to have you on the show. So let's go to that question with regard to safety and our kids, right? How do we keep them safe in schools? How do we keep our kids who are, because back to school, it's happening. We don't even know how it's going to happen. We have COVID numbers. We have 14 people listed yesterday on our dashboard. I shared with you some of the data that we have where it's trending. We know for sure that none of the deaths that we've seen have been children, which is gracious and God is good. But we know that we've had young people who are sick so far, based on what I've told. We know that we've also had mother and child die in childbirth due to COVID. So we know that as information as well. But as parents, we're concerned. How do we prepare? Is back to school advisable? What do we do to protect our kids? Dr. Sims, what do we do?
Yeah. So Nahaja, let me just address school reopenings first. I do think that schools should open. The American Academy of Pediatrics also supports this recommendation that schools should reopen. There's very, very good evidence that supports in-person learning, and it's well documented that school closures has really impacted negatively. Our school has impacted them in so many ways. I think that we underestimate how much it has impacted children and their mental health, their emotional health. Yes. A lot of kids have been the victims of COVID, from a bystander point of view. They've lost parents, they've lost grandparents, they've lost loved ones. And, they've been in households where people may have lost income. And so they've had to deal with all of this. And we're creating a real mental health challenge with our kids. And I think that getting back to some sort of normalcy, we just have to do it for them in the long run. Now, how to make that happen is the big question. Obviously every country has different barriers, different, infrastructure, and it makes this school reopening a little bit different everywhere. But the first thing I would say is that every child that's over the age of 2 that can wear a mask should wear a mask. It should be non-negotiable. In addition to children, all staff, all visitors, all teachers, everybody that goes to the school should be masked. And I mean, this is easy in the Bahamas because we have a mask mandate, and so this part we can do. We can do this really, really easy. We're talking about less than 12, but older than 12 are also in school. And so in this group, we should encourage parents, consider the vaccine. Yeah. The vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine is available for children, 12 years and older. And it's not a bad idea to consider the vaccine in kids of this age group. So that they have this extra layer of protection when they get back into the classroom, into the unknown. They're now away from just being in the house with that bubble. Yeah. And so I think that this is very important. All of the other mitigation we encourage, the distance, the 3 feet of physical distance. And when this can't be achieved, there are some other things that we can implement, screening tests. We are still paying for tests in the Bahamas, but I think that we need to probably get to a place where tests, especially in the school system and for school children, could be free.
Thanks. Say it louder, Doc. My children
should be free. Yes. It's hard to put this burden on families to have to pay for tests for their children every time there's a possible exposure at school. I mean, you're going to get 30 children in the classroom tested every time that happens. That's a huge cost. And so I think that we need to talk seriously about testing for schools and free testing for schools. So that's one thing. Schools, I'm sure last time they were equipped with hand sanitizer and washing stations. All of this should really be really, really, really enforced. There needs to be some way or some mechanism that, if, for instance, a child has COVID-19 or a teacher has COVID-19, well, let's start with the child first. They're not penalized for missing school. So there needs to be some system in place where they can have homework done at home. They may have a virtual teacher that maybe teaches just the COVID kids, or if they have to be in isolation because of exposure, all these different things. There needs to be some system in place that addresses this. Children that have COVID, children that are in quarantine, or children that are in isolation. And then, of course, the things that we always do, the cleaning, the disinfecting, all of that is very important. But I would say it's achievable. And we have to focus on it. Everyone has to do everyone has to do their parts, because kids cannot be out of school forever.
No, I love that you said that. Let me ask you this. If you're just a pediatrician and pediatric nephrologist joining us on the show, see, I got my word right. There's this concern, of course, Dr. Sims, as a pediatrician, and of course, you now, you deal with major cases. You are dealing with children at all of the spheres and cases, and serious cases as well. Bahamians are concerned that the vaccine itself is not good for our children. My pediatrician messaged me, Nahaja, it's safe. I trust my pediatrician. I really do. I trusted her to be there for when they came into the world. I trust her at this point now that they exist. But there's also that part in the back of my head, but it just arrived. It's new. Like, how do we know what we're saying is accurate if it hasn't been, 10 years so I could see down the line and say, whoa, kids who took it when they were 12, that young lady had a baby at 22. I'm still stuck on grandkids talk. So it's like a big
deal. Yeah, I know this.
I'm not there yet. I'm not even close, right? But I figure there'll be like one time on a porch somewhere like 20, 30 years down the line. That's what I'll have. But I digress. What do you say to parents that are concerned?
So the first thing I want to say is that, as with the development of different pharmaceuticals, Tylenol, Motrin, Panadol, all the things that we take on a daily basis and don't even think about, is this safe or not? This vaccine has gone through very rigorous and very strenuous testing. I want to assure people that no step was missed. Yes, it was accelerated, and it's because you have the entire world stopping and focusing on one project. The entire world. Talking about every researcher that maybe did, childhood cancer or Parkinson's disease or leukemia, something different. They focused on this vaccine. And so you had all of your resources, including money, because this is a big deal. Companies didn't want to be shut down. And so a lot of them put their money behind making this vaccine possible. And so I think that people should be reassured that the vaccines went through the same process that other vaccines did. Mm-hmm. No steps were missed. That's the first thing. And the other thing is, even though there's always this question about, okay, well, we've never used these type of vaccines before. We know that this methodology is not new. It's been around for about the last 20 years, since the SARS-CoV-1 and the MERS-CoV vaccinations or COVID viruses. Luckily, these viruses, they disappeared. And so everyone stopped working on these vaccines naturally, but a lot of the lab work had been done. And so it was just a matter of picking up where we left off. And we had all the resources to do that and get the vaccine to completion in a very fast manner. And so I just want to assure people that vaccine, the safety and everything that goes into building the vaccine, no steps were skipped. The other point that I want to make is that we know from history that if you are going to have some adverse effect because of a vaccine, it usually happens within 6 weeks of the vaccine.
Hold that thought. Okay. Hold that thought. Because we have to go to break, We were just getting into it. I love it. This has been great. Just hold that thought. We got to take the news break. When we come back, Dr. K. Joy Sims will be joining us. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio, all the way from Louisiana, y'all. Right after.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We have joining us all the way from Louisiana, pediatric physician and pediatric nephrologist. I've got her, Dr. K. Joy Sims, joining us. Doc, thank you so much again for being on the show. Thank you. You don't know. Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you.
No problem. It's great to be here.
Okay, so you were finishing before I rudely interrupted you for news. you were sharing and talking about the vaccine and how we should behave with it.
So I think I was starting to talk about the fact that history has taught us a lot of lessons as it relates to vaccines. For the most part, if there's going to be a side effect, it happens within the first 6 weeks after you get a vaccine. Those mumps, rubella, polio, flu. And in the trials, they actually looked for longer than 6 weeks. So they looked for 8 weeks. That's the first thing. And even now, 6 months after these vaccines have gone live, you still have adverse events being reported. And this is how, we were able to find out about the blood clots and the pericarditis and myocarditis with the Pfizer and Moderna. Mm-hmm. And so I think people should overall feel comfortable and confident that, the process was stringent and there's ongoing monitoring. So if anything were to happen, God forbid, we're not going to ignore it. People are not just going to say, well, yeah, whatever. But we're going to stop like they did with the clots, assess every case, and decide whether or not the benefits of getting the vaccine outweigh the risks. And so I think that we need to be confident in the process. I am. Yeah. And so I encourage people to be.
I think that's the thing, the confidence in the process, right? Because of course, the misinformation or disinformation out there that is creating the narrative that, man, listen, I've heard some stuff. This is the mark of the beast. Go there to that point, right? I'm more considered. If we talking mark of the beast, that means I missed the rapture. I should be more terrified of that.
Exactly.
I digress. So, here's where, and someone was even commenting saying, well, if we're so confident on it with this vaccine, and in particular, when we're talking about children, why is it not backed by any form of liability like others? Why are we're using it in the emergency use phase? We know that the FDA is about to approve the Pfizer vaccine, but we're using AstraZeneca, right? And has that been approved yet? I don't think it has. Or Oxford's AstraZeneca, right? So what do you say to those persons whose confidence is a little shaky in that regard? Should we still trust it?
I think that you should, because the vaccine is, for instance, Pfizer, they're about to get full approval in the coming days, and they haven't had to do anything to the vaccine. They haven't had to change anything. So, I would be more worried if, in order for it to be fully approved, they had to go back to the lab and change some stuff and do this and tweak that. But nothing's changed. And so they're going to get approval and they're not going to have to change anything, which means that it's good to go. And, I think that people need to be less concerned about the terminology, emergency use authorization and full use, because the process is almost the same. I'm not sure of all process, but it's very stringent either way. And so I know a lot of people will feel more comfortable once it's, approved fully. And I think that'll give a subset of people a little bit of more comfort and ease with getting the vaccine. I do. I'm waiting for the Pfizer vaccine to get fully approved because it will really help us in the pediatric population. That's the only vaccine right now that's available to us. And so approval would be really, really helpful. It makes a difference. And, I like to acknowledge people's fears. They're real. And you can't just dismiss them. And it's much easier going to a parent and saying, hey, this vaccine is fully approved in children. There are no side effects that we know of, except for, some mild swelling, some mild redness. A small amount of kids have gotten this inflammation of the heart. Parents are a little bit more accepting if something has been fully approved. And so I'm waiting for it.
Let's go to some of these, this swelling of the heart, right? And what age group are we seeing that? Is it, what sort of, is there a precondition, or some are more susceptible to seeing it? What do we know as possible side effects of getting vaccinated, if that's what parents choose to do?
Right. So with the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, there have been reports of what we call myocarditis, which is the inflammation of the heart, as well as pericarditis, which is the inflammation of the lining of the lungs. And it's been reported in adolescent and young adult males. So it's that age group. Approximately a little bit over 1,000 cases, 12,000 cases we've seen, and this is since April.
12,000 cases? 1,200.
1,000. And we've seen this since April 2021. Again, there have been so many doses of Pfizer that's been given, and small proportion of people that have gotten the side effects. But it is a valid concern for parents. The one thing that I would say is good is that most of these cases are very mild. Most people don't require long-term hospitalization, and most people recover fully. And so I think that should bring some ease to that complication.
And you say most, so not all. So it could be a little different for some. Just because, you don't want it to be your kid, and so you want to know more and more about it. Someone asked, have you seen any adverse effects on patients in terms of?
I have not personally. I'm sure that there are reports out there, but I have not. You always get the soreness of the arm at the injection site. You get sometimes a little redness, sometimes a little swelling. Kids have the same reaction as well, where they may have some weakness, some lethargy, tiredness, on the 24 to 48 hours after getting the vaccine. But that is the extent of side effects that I have seen.
Yeah. We have a pediatrician and pediatric nephrologist, Dr. K. Joy Sims, joining us on the Hit Back today. All right, Doc, let's talk about this side of it. With children right now, right? So, well, actually, let me get to a question someone asked, right? Indy asked, is there a challenge with mixing vaccines if you're pregnant or breastfeeding? Should mothers be concerned with that?
So COVID-19 vaccines are recommended for pregnant women, breastfeeding women, and women that are now, and women that are trying to become pregnant in the future.
Yep.
That's for you too, Nahaja.
Yeah. Well, no, I stopped, but I just talking about the babies.
No, I mean for your grandkids.
Yes.
So even for future pregnancies, the CDC is very clear about that. The vaccine is safe, and all vaccines are safe. And so if I know that there's this thing that we're doing that you may be able to get your second dose with Pfizer if you've gotten the AstraZeneca, and that should be safe.
Mm-hmm. Doc, you say should. Now I had everybody until you said should. You said should be safe, and then the four people said safe.
Because I don't see specific guidance on that particular thing, the mixing. But I know that COVID vaccines are safe in pregnant women. The Pfizer is safe, as well as the AstraZeneca. And so, although there's no specific recommendation on that I was able to find, it should be safe. But I would definitely consult my physician And I encourage people to do that before they make that decision to mix vaccines.
And in terms of breastfeeding as well, that's been a concern. I remember when I got my shot, I was still breastfeeding. So I paused, and because even at the site, they could not say whether or not it was safe for breastfeeding. I said, well, okay, I'm breastfeeding right now. We ain't getting this vaccine. We can brave this. Baby got to eat. So for breastfeeding mothers, is that been said that it's safe?
It is safe. Okay. The statement is very clear from the CDC that it is safe to get the vaccine while you are breastfeeding.
Okay. Now, one of the things, as a pediatrician, again, you're seeing all of these, you're seeing COVID patients, of course. You're seeing the effects of it on the healthcare system. But what are we seeing happening with children, right? What are we seeing happening with kids who are affected or infected with COVID? I know you mentioned that I think the majority of our kids will be fine. Like they'll be good, right? So what should we be on the lookout for as parents? If there is a scare, they go back to school and there's a COVID scare in terms of what should we be on the lookout for? And then what should we do if there is a possible COVID infection?
So COVID-19 presents in children very similar to adults. And unfortunately in children, that's how a lot of the respiratory illnesses that they have present. With just a little bit of cough, a little bit of runny nose. I mean, that's typical for kids.
That's everything.
Correct. That's typical for kids that go to school. And so I think our antennas are going to be a little bit higher once school reopens because, it could be just the common cold, but it could also be COVID. And so I think parents need to be on the lookout for any type of respiratory symptoms, just runny nose, cough, throat pain, even stomach symptoms. So if they have vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, that's been associated with COVID-19 in children as well. If they have fever and babies, sometimes fever may be the only thing that you have to go based on, fever or just poor eating. The other things you want to look out for are obvious things, like if they have chest pain, if they have really bad headaches and things like that, you want to get them tested. It's a lot easier if they have a known contact or if someone in the house has COVID-19. But I think parents need to have a heightened awareness, particularly going back to school for these just small complaints that, we may not take seriously usually. Right. So I encourage parents to be on the lookout for anything that is at your pediatrician and see if you need to get COVID testing for your child.
One of the things, stomach aches, is that something I'm supposed to look out for too? I feel like my
stomach pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and it can present, COVID can present that way in children. And so that should be something you're on the lookout for. Now, it's different if you have a kid that's already having a lot of these issues. You have to have a conversation with the pediatrician to really weed through that, to see if it's different than, the issues in the past. But abdominal symptoms are definitely one of the ways that COVID-19 can present.
Wow. All right. So when is it one of the concerns that we've been kind of noticing here is that folks are waiting a little late, right? They're waiting. And I don't know if it's that they're waiting. I found that even with my family, they didn't believe they had COVID. And then you find out because they're to the place where they're running low on oxygen and whatnot. Is there a time when you need to just call the pediatrician or you just need to call your doctor? Right. So if I'm with my kids, what is that line when I call the pediatrician? Like, when I say, okay, listen, the stomach ache sounded a little long. What is that line for when parents should be heightened and call? Because you don't want to be that rogue parent who call in every 4 minutes.
You definitely don't want to be. But I would say, pertaining to the respiratory symptoms, if you look at your child and they are not having an easy time breathing, it looks like it's difficult for them to breathe. You may hear some wheezing or something like that. You need to call or go right away. That's one of the things I don't play with. So if you're having a difficult time breathing and taking in air and it looks like they're getting tired when they're breathing, that's something that is an emergency. So you definitely want to go right away. Chest pain, I don't take that lightly either. And so I would get on the phone or get in the car right away and check your pediatrician or the emergency room if they have chest pain. The other symptoms like stomachache, those are a little bit different. Obviously, if your child is in writhing pain and you have done Tylenol, Motrin, and this pain is not going away, your child can't walk, they're just in bed, that is a red flag. You need to call the pediatrician. Stomach ache should not be debilitating to the point where they can't do anything and they're, not responding to pain control. I would encourage parents to, if your child has pain that is not going away, contact your pediatrician or go to the emergency room.
For someone asked a question about if your child has asthma, like what sort of care or concern should we have there? And I want to make sure I find that question so I can ask it correctly. And you got to forgive me, there's so many questions. And I'll find it. But it was in regards to if my child has asthma, what should I be on the lookout for? Of course, it affects children with asthma more dangerously, I would assume.
Correct. Asthma is one of the comorbidities that we've seen in children who are admitted with COVID-19 symptoms, so who end up having moderate to severe disease. Usually one of the comorbidities is asthma. And so in these kids, you have to be just extra cautious. Parents that have children that have asthma, they're usually on top of it. They know when to use the inhalers. They know when to use, their rescue medicines, the Ventolin and all this different stuff. So I would say the same applies. If you notice that your child is not getting better, you notice that they're having the same difficulty breathing and they're looking tired, and they're lethargic and not eating and maybe vomiting, all of these things would be cause for concern. Similar to what we talked about in a healthy child, that you need to be on the lookout for these things. And you need to get in the car, call your pediatrician right away if you notice that your child is having problems breathing and not responding to treatments at home.
Excellent. We're going to take a quick break. My producer's the best. He's keeping me on my P's and Q's, Doc. We've got Dr. K. Joy Sims joining us. When we come back, let's have the question and answer period that you want to have and ask. But I want to also go back into that school planning and preparation. What should we be doing also within our schools, getting our kids ready for school in this new year? You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja, Black Guardian Radio. We will be back right after this.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. Our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
J.S. Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Many people wonder, what makes Boost Academy unique? Maybe it's our 8-to-1 student-staff ratio, the emphasis we place on student individuality, our focus on numeracy, literacy, and creating better citizens by sharpening students' critical thinking skills. One of our many talented teachers, program facilitators, and mentors. Or just made responsibility for your child's education. No hidden fees or costs. Regardless of what it is, let us help your child reach their full potential. Boost Academy is currently enrolling students of grades 4 through 12. Visit www.boostbahamas.com to apply now.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's a Friday, y'all. We are living our best life, I hope, planning and trying to be our best person as best as we can be. We have joining us brilliant physician, Bahamian. She is, I hope she's living her best life, but she's working hard. I don't know. I know she's working hard, right? I hope she's living her best life over there in Louisiana. Of course, Louisiana is having its own issues there. New Orleans in particular, and I think you're working at which hospital are you at, Doc?
Children's Hospital of New Orleans.
Look at you, fancy schmancy. All right, so we want to get your calls and your questions. I've been getting a lot of comments. People are very happy that we're doing the show. 323-6232, 325-4316, or 325-4259. That's 323-6232, 325-4316. or 325-4259. You can also text us at 477-GR96, 427-GR96. We have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the Hit Back. Welcome.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for taking my call. And Dr. Sims, I just want to say it's a pleasure listening to you. You've been so informative. I think I've gotten the most information I've ever gotten since this whole thing started. Wow. But I just wanted to find out from you and your opinion. My child, she's 4 and she's going to preschool. I know that you heard what you would have mentioned earlier. But for me as a parent, I'm still kind of skeptical because then I'm still entrusting that our educators are able to handle, because to my knowledge, what I've been told is that the classes did not decrease for the preschool in the government system. So I wanted to know, what would be your recommendation to us as parents? 2 kids will be now in the classroom that is not as huge as probably the state, but we still have 25 kids inside of it or 20 kids in it. I'll just hang up and listen.
Thank you. Great question.
That is a good question. And it's almost impossible to do this 3 feet thing. It's virtually impossible where you have so many kids in a small place. But I would say that at the age of 4, usually by that time, kids are comfortable wearing a mask and can do so pretty easily. And so you have to reinforce masking, hand washing. In fact, I would say that kids are pretty good. They remember well once they're reminded from time to time to wear their mask, always sanitize their hands. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I think that parents should do some legwork. Find out, what percentage of the staff of this school is vaccinated. What are the policies in terms of cleaning or disinfecting at the end of the day? What are the policies for disinfecting if someone in the classroom develops? You need to know. You can't just send your kids back and you don't know what's going on.
And just for the record, Dr. Sims, I think it's also something that we must demand from schools. That if there is an outbreak, if there is someone who is positive, we don't need to know who they are, but the parents should be made aware that there is that concern. If it's an email, direct call, a meeting, that should be made aware, and schools should be required to tell us what is their process and plan if that happens before we even open schools. So I think the schools also have to make sure that they are giving parents that sort of peace of mind, and the government having to find a way to ensure that they're living up to that standard. But I'm with you on that too.
I totally agree with that. And then the other thing is, the younger the child, the less likely that they can transmit the disease. And so, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, their cough is not as strong. They don't sneeze as hard. And so it's just a little bit more difficult for them to spread disease. And so I could understand why maybe the preschool classes are not have not been, decreased in size. But that's also the group that's, hands everywhere.
And can be bad. Yeah.
And so you have to make sure that teachers are really good about, making sure that there's timed hand washing. Maybe that's the idea, to have every 2-3 hours, everyone stop what you're doing, go wash your hands, come back to your desk, just so that we keep that hygiene as best as possible.
Is it, before we get to the other caller, is there a recommended amount of kids in a space per square feet? Because I'm thinking, with this parent is thinking 25, you should see the size of this class, and 25 children don't believe in space, right? But you, as a pediatrician, you're not as concerned with that group, if that's what I'm getting from you.
Well, they're less likely to transmit disease.
Okay.
And so I'm a little bit less concerned, but, I'm still concerned, for sure. I don't know if there's an actual number of children per square feet. If it is, it's not coming to me right now, but I do know that there should be at least 3 feet between each of these children.
And I think, that would serve as a good standard for sure for these classrooms. I definitely agree. And the importance of education, and you stressed it at the beginning, it is vitally important that face-to-face time, especially for developing minds and kids. So it is one of those crazy things, right? The adjustment.
We are going to have to make so much changes and get comfortable with it. But Nahaja, we all have to do our part. It has to happen. We cannot continue to live like this is going away anytime soon. We have to kind of get back to our normal lives, and that matters for kids as well. These COVID babies, I call them, because they've been in the house, they don't know nobody, they never been sick, their immune system is not as strong as it should be because they've just been in the house. And so we have to kind of get them back to what they need to do.
I like that, because you just said they need to go play marbles. Okay, we got a call on the line. Caller, thank you for holding. You're on the air.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Hello.
Hi, you're on the air. Can you speak up a little for me?
Thank you, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I love the way it was underscored the importance of education. And I would like to say also that in the preschool situation, you usually have an additional teacher, unlike the other classes where you only have one teacher. So you usually have an assistant or a helper. But I want to know, living abroad, whether our doctor have any impact in communicating with our health system and our educators to share some of these same information.
Yeah, you got that question, yeah?
Yeah, I did. And the answer,
say that again?
There are enough professionals at home that are working on, getting school reopened, and I'm sure they have some of the best minds behind all of the policies that they're going to implement.
Yeah, that was very, I like you, politically correct answer. That was really good, Dr. Sims. Dr. K. Joy Sims joining us, pediatrician and pediatric nephrologist on the show with us, working in New Orleans, the University of New Orleans, or the Children's Hospital of New Orleans, with us on the show. Someone asked, what are the long-term effects of the vaccine on these young kids? And I think you've already said that. We actually went through that already from what you've seen and what we've so far. Obviously, long-term is long-term, right? You need to see it to know it. But based on what the study of these vaccines and the history of the vaccines, most pediatricians are fine with the vaccine, viewing it as any other vaccine at this point, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm just giving a summation.
Yeah, that was perfect. I think, just to add to that, Nahaja, like, people don't like ambiguity. People don't like to not know.
Exactly.
And so, in medicine, we have gotten used to that. It's one of the things that we have to get used to. We don't know what it's going to be in 6 years, but history has taught us that if something is going to happen, it happens within the first 6 weeks.
Okay. We got some other callers on the line. Callers, thank you so much.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air.
Yes. Good day, Nahaja, to you and your guests.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like your concern for our students, right? But my concern is with the teachers. what percentage of teachers in our country are fully vaccinated?
We don't have that data. Caller, you still there? Oh, we lost the caller. I think that's interesting too. On that point, Dr. Sims, let me ask you this. Because we know vaccinated people can still spread the virus, what does the teachers being vaccinated, how can that help us curb COVID-19? Isn't it important that all of us get vaccinated, because someone can have it and we can get it, and that might be adverse to us. So it's like you're getting it to protect yourself, not necessarily to protect someone else at this point.
Well, Nahaja, I think everyone should get the vaccine. Sorry.
Yeah, of course. We know that.
But I think the concern that fully vaccinated people can transmit the Delta variant is a valid concern. You know, studies have looked at this, and they see that infections or people can harbor the Delta variant even if they're fully vaccinated, and they can transmit. The one thing that has been shown is that they're not able to transmit for as long if they're fully vaccinated. So let's say
that again.
So they're not able to transmit the disease for as long as a period if they're fully vaccinated. If they're not fully vaccinated, let's just throw numbers out there. You may be infectious for about a week, that meaning that you can give the disease to someone else for about that time. But that period is much shortened in someone that is fully vaccinated.
Really?
And so that's, you know, and the other thing is, when you're single, you may be able to transmit disease. You yourself probably would only have mild symptoms or be asymptomatic. And so that's the other thing. It's beneficial to you, but the other thing is we still need to wear masks. And so masks help with all of this. You know, it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated, unvaccinated. Well, it does matter, but you can wear your mask at all times when you're around people in a public setting.
Yeah.
That concern for transmitting, if you're fully vaccinated, it is a valid concern. And studies have shown that it can happen.
Yeah, and we are seeing in some places where there are a lot of, not a lot, but there are breakthrough cases now where persons who are vaccinated getting COVID-19 and fully vaccinated getting COVID-19.
Yeah. And let me just touch on that, Nahaja.
Yeah.
I think that is important for people to understand that vaccines are not 100% effective. No vaccine is. You know, measles isn't, mumps isn't, rubella isn't, polio isn't, but we still get these vaccines. And we see breakthrough cases all of the time. And so I think that this, in terms of breakthrough cases and the amount that we're seeing, it's expected. It's not something that caught scientists by surprise.
Yeah, and we have another caller on the line. Caller, you're on the hit back. Welcome.
Good day, this is Doc. You know, voice along with you.
Hello, Raymond. What you say?
I'm right here holding, thank God. What I want to ask the doctor, right? Now, those children, school-age children, right, we're going to be I'm speaking of 3, 4, 5 years old, even a little older, we're going to be wearing a mask for years. For hours, right? They're going to be inhaling that carbon monoxide, right? So, wouldn't that have an effect on them?
Sorry, did you get that question? I kind of...
Yeah, I did get the question. So we have not had issues with mask wearing in children. We've not seen, children having carbon monoxide poisoning. It just doesn't happen with mask wearing. I do think that we have to be mindful that children may need mask breaks. And this is going to happen anytime, lunchtime. They have to eat, right? So the mask is going to come off. And so I have not seen personally any cases of this carbon monoxide or passing out or other things or adverse events related to mask wearing.
We have joining us pediatrician K. Joy Sims, pediatrician and pediatric nephrologist K. Joy Sims with us here. I might need a break. And on that, we are going to take a quick break. Dr. Sims joining us from Louisiana, from New Orleans, Louisiana, practicing there at the Children's Hospital there in New Orleans. There's some questions about, is the AZ vaccine, has that been what is the state of that in the United States? I don't think you guys use that in the United States.
No.
But we know that we're using Pfizer for kids, and it is now in country. We have that question, and also another question about the effects of the vaccine on the fetus, on your child, your pregnant child. I mean, your unborn child. And I think you kind of touched on that as well as saying it was safe. But for those who are just tuning in, we'll quickly rehash that on the other side of the break. All right? You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. We'll be back right after this.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. It's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Looking for a roomy SUV that's affordable? Take a look at the new Chevrolet Traverse. It seats up to 8 and is ranked best in class for cargo space. Its spacious interior design offers the latest features to keep you and your family entertained. What's more, you'll get up to a 5-year, 100,000-kilometer factory warranty along with Chevrolet's superior engineering and safety record. So, test drive the new Chevrolet Traverse today at Nassau Motor Company on Shirley Street, where standards are higher.
Many people wonder, what makes Boost Academy unique? Maybe it's our 8-to-1 student-staff ratio, the emphasis we place on student individuality, our focus on numeracy, literacy, and creating better citizens by sharpening students' critical thinking skills. One of our many talented teachers, program facilitators, and mentors. Or just maybe it is our commitment to taking full responsibility for your child's education. No hidden fees or costs. Regardless of what it is, let us help your child reach their full potential. Boost Academy is currently enrolling students of grades 4 through 12. Visit www.boostbahamas.com to apply now.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Dr. K. Joy Sims joining us on the show. Doc, we have a caller waiting on the line, and I don't want to keep him much longer. Caller, you're on The Hit Back. Welcome.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much for calling.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ms. Sims, as well. I wanted to find out, as teachers, should you have quite a great deal of contact with students? I know 3 feet is 3 feet, but then some students require assistance with their drinks, other types of assistance. How much should you separate or keep those boundaries there? The other thing is, what about in dealing with papers? Should you be marking papers and then passing it back to the child? Is there concern about that kind of contact? And I heard 1 or 2 callers concerned about whether or not teachers are vaccinated. And to me, I'm concerned they're not asking about nurses, the nurses who are not taking the vaccine for their own personal reasons. And you would possibly have children or adults going to these nurses, but nobody seems to care when they're sick. They don't seem to care whether the nurse has a vaccine or not. They just want to feel better. Okay, so those are my concerns.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the call, caller. All right, good questions there.
Those are really great questions. I think in terms of the contact, it's, the whole purpose of going back to school is to have some contact. I do think that teachers will have to have a lot of hand sanitizer and a lot of hand washing going on, because it's hard not to help a child that needs help with juice. You can't just stand there and not help them. And so you can limit it as much as possible. Maybe not a lot of the hugs and the not necessary contact that we probably are used to, but definitely things that they need to get them through the day. You should do, and definitely wash your hands right after, and definitely wash or sanitize in between kids. So, just don't kind of go around the room and deal with every kid one time, but, make sure you sanitize in between kids as well. In terms of papers, so I would say that you need to sanitize when you're dealing with papers as well. Try and avoid your eyes, your face. We know the routine, but there's less of a risk with inanimate objects such as paper in contracting COVID-19 than in the beginning.
Yes, I was about to say, because at the beginning we were thinking that, hey, listen, this virus is staying on surfaces for 8 hours, so you can't touch anything, and if you touch anything, run for the hills. But so what I've been reading is that we're less so concerned about that now. Is your study as well?
Well, yes. Based on my understanding, it's less of a concern. The concern is not zero. We're never going to say it's absolutely not happening, but it's definitely less of a concern. And I think that if people practice the proper sanitizing, it makes me feel a little bit more confident that you're not going to get COVID-19 from paper.
Yeah. Someone asked interesting question. He said, good afternoon. Would you advise taking the vaccine if a child or an adult has an irregular heartbeat?
So I would talk to the cardiologist about that. Every physician, feels or has their own views on what they're willing to allow their patients to do. And so that would definitely be one that I refer to the cardiologist about.
Yeah. So that's one. And again, I love this because the thing is, if you have some medical issues, you definitely go to your physician, go to your pediatrician. Let me see. We have quite a few questions and text messages, but there's one here. Can you ask your guest if she feels that the Delta variant came from vaccinated persons, as the CDC has basically hinted that now that's one of the things now causing the kids' outbreaks, because the CDC has indicated that vaccinated people became the spreaders. I don't know if they said that vaccinated people became the spreaders. I don't think that's accurate. It's not accurate, actually. But your thoughts on that? Is the Delta variant happening because of vaccinated people, as it mutated because of persons who are vaccinated?
The second part, is it mutated? Because I don't know where the mutation started, and so I cannot answer that. But I do know that vaccinated people are not the only people that are transmitting disease. They're not the only people that's causing all of these, these huge increases in numbers. And especially in the Bahamas, it's only about 13 to 14% of the population is fully vaccinated. And so there's just no way that only 13% of the people are infecting everyone else. That's not happening. And so, yes, people that are fully vaccinated can spread COVID-19, but I do not think that it's only that.
All right. So I want to get your last word here, Doc, because I know I have another guest that is logged on. I want to get the last word from you. What would be your parting advice to parents at the beginning of this school year?
So I would say to parents, first and foremost, ensure that you reinforce all of the mitigation measures to your child. Children are good at following instructions sometimes. Most times. They should always have on their mask, except if they're eating or drinking. They should wash their hands, provide them with sanitizer in case the schools don't have enough supply. They should ensure that they not get too close to other children. That one is kind of hard, but try and enforce as much as possible. Keep your distance from people, adults and children alike. And then the other thing that I would want to leave with parents and families is really consider the vaccine. If you have a child that's 12 years and older, they're eligible to be vaccinated. And I think that, we have a lot of data now about this. We have a lot of information. People are hesitant, and I understand the hesitancy. But I want people to really consider getting their children vaccinated, because if they're fully vaccinated, then they're no longer in this very vulnerable group. You don't want to have that child that is affected by COVID-19 in one way or the other. Mild disease, okay. But suppose you have that child that has to be hospitalized or God forbid, that passes away because of COVID. Suppose you are having your child stay with their grandparents after school. A lot of grandparents do school pickups and children after work. And the last thing that you want is for your child to come home with COVID-19, they be totally asymptomatic, but, maybe pass it on to grandma or granddad. And so really, really consider this vaccine and really reinforce. We've become a little bit slack and loose with some of these things that we were really stringent about in the beginning. Yeah. Just reinforce, and really consider the COVID-19 vaccine for your children if they are eligible.
K. Joy Sims, Dr. K. Joy Sims, pediatrician, pediatric nephrologist, all the way there in Louisiana. Please stay safe, Doc. We appreciate you, appreciate the time you've shared with us. And I think you gave a lot of information to folks. And I thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much for having me, Nahaja. And I really enjoyed being on the show and sharing something about
shared a lot.
COVID-19 and the vaccines in kids. And I hope that people enjoyed the information. And
we got to do this again. We'll stay in touch. Thank you so much. All right, Dr. K. Joy Sims, everyone. Again, loving the conversation that we're having here with COVID-19. I want to switch gears, though. Something I wanted to talk about, and I'm glad that my guests have been here. Someone said that segment was truly informative. She was great. I agree. And you can always listen to this show again. Don't forget, follow, like, share on YouTube and on Facebook. You can find us there. I've got joining me, though, DRC Ramming, and I think I just lost DRC Ramming. Arawak X. That's the name of the company. And whilst I wait for Mr. Ramming to come back there, DRC Ramming Jr., Arawak X is a new company. I don't know if we call it new, but they're launching something pretty exciting. And next week will be the launch of a crowdsourcing, crowdfunding website or company that they've created. And next week they're launching 2 companies. Now, the difference with this crowdsourcing or crowdfunding initiative is that you actually get equity stakes. So you're not just crowdsourcing or crowdfunding. You're not just paying it, but you are actually getting equity stake at the ground floor. And 2 companies they're launching. And this is so exciting. And I see DRC is back. So this is so exciting. DRC, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great today.
I'm excited.
Sorry, I'm between meetings, so I'm in my car.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Once you're on, I'm good. I'm excited. I was trying to tell folks that this is an exciting company, Arawak X, giving Bahamians the opportunity to invest in companies that are promising, but at the ground floor. So we are going to start seeing real equity stake if a company does well. Quickly, tell us about Arawak X and those companies that we have an opportunity to invest in.
So Arawak X is solving an old problem in a new way. And that old problem is that businesses that are going through growth are looking for money to grow, right? Businesses are like children. They need money to get to the next stage of development. And so that's problem on one side. On the other side, you have investors, people with excess cash laying around, and they want a return on their money. And so what exchanges do, what Arawak X does, is they bring these businesses and this excess cash together, make sure everybody's rights are protected, and they do that through corporate governance. We have a nice acronym for how we vet companies. But then everyone wins. The investors see some returns, and the businesses are able to grow, hire more people. Economic activity happens. The country is better. And so that's what we're about at Arawak X, making sure to facilitate that process over the internet.
2 companies you guys are launching.
Hello?
Right? Can you hear us?
Dive in or out?
Yeah. Can you hear us, DRC?
Hello?
Oh, I think we're losing him a bit. All right. So we're having a little technical issue here.
The 2 companies?
Yes, the 2 companies.
So let me talk a little bit about the 2 companies. So what I can say is the public at 9 a.m. But what I can say is that one of the companies is a international food brand, and the other company is a tourism technology company. And so they have international.
Keep going. You're still there. Okay, we're having some technical issues
I
with
can hear
you.
you now.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, am I, how about now?
You're good. Keep talking. Don't stop.
How about now? I'm just trying to get a good signal. Okay. So what we're doing is we're making sure that, so I can tell you a little bit more about how we vet these companies. So, okay, we're still here. Good. So vetting, we use the acronym, a team that creates magic. A team that creates magic. And that team stands for the executive advisors and management. So the people that are running this business, take a look. So if there's a tourism business, take a look at the founders of the business, look at their backgrounds, ask questions like, who are their advisors? If they're talking about going international, have these people done.
All right, and it's so unfortunate. We really want to get that segment done, but I know for sure that starting next, I think it's Monday, those companies go public, and you can go to their website, Arawak X, and see if we can get them really working with us. I'm thinking, and DRC, if you can hear me well, I need you to just wave for me so I can make sure that you're in a good space. And there you go. Let's see if we can get this real quickly, okay. DRC, before the gods no longer are with us.
Okay. How about now?
You're perfect now. Stop moving.
Okay.
Stop in the middle of the road next to all of them PLP and F&M signs.
I think it was because I'm close to this building over here.
Okay.
So, I was where did I get cut off?
Okay. You got cut off you were talking about the vetting, but because of time, what I want to find out from you is how do folks learn more on this in terms of where can they go to get more information, and what is the startup cost? What will it cost me to invest once I've learned about the companies?
Okay, so go to arawakx.com. It is free to sign up. How we make money, like minimum deposit in a company, is typical. How we make money is when a company is successfully funded, we get paid at that point. So the minimum investment, we're trying to make all investments $25. And
excellent.
So it's pretty accessible. We're a big portion of what we're trying to do is financial inclusion. So we're trying to make sure that anyone with a cell phone and internet access can access the markets. So that's what we're trying to do.
And just for the record, for folks who may not really grasp the audacity and the awesomeness of this company, is that we are now all of us can now be at the ground floor of companies. You don't have to be in the number boys, see sunshine boys, nights, none of those. You don't have to be on any side of that. You can actually just be a part of a great idea, a company that has been vetted by these brilliant young minds who have seen a vision and gone through the process. Because I know the RC all gone through all kind of processes just to get to this point.
Yeah, it took a while. It took a while. Including I'm just the young face, and I make sure that the computers work. But there's so much experience on our team. Really take a look at our team. We have my father who was who built BISIX. He was the first operating officer of BISIX, as well as spent some time as a regulator on the disciplinary committee. We have Mr. Hilary DeVoe, who is the former executive director of the disciplinary committee. We have Mr. Winston Roll, who was the former head of the Chamber of Commerce, a businessman. Mr. Ken Donathan, who was the president of R&D, another businessman, as well as one of the kindest souls that you could ever meet. He'll stop you to talk about your finances at any moment. We have Mr. Leroy Archer, who led the Commonwealth Brewery through the largest IPO that was in the history of this country. So we have a team of executives that understand business, And it's between marrying that understanding of business, marrying technology, and of course a firm understanding of regulation, and pulling all of this together with a young, qualified team.
See, that's what we got to do. We got to go.
Okay.
But what we will do next week.
Go to arrowacx.com.
Good. We will have you on the show. arrowacx.com. We'll bring you back on the show. I love this conversation. Thank you so much, buddy.
And thank you for having me.
Anytime. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja, Black Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. arrowacx.com, y'all. Support it. You're going to support yourself. It's amazing. We'll see you guys Monday. Have a great weekend. We're up.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're listening to the Guardian News Network. I'm Taylor Ferguson. Here is your evening report. It is Friday, August 20th, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in. 6 days after an immigration officer was murdered during a double shooting in Victoria Gardens, in connection with that incident and another double shooting on Marshall Road. Gillian Gray has the details.
28-year-old Brown Charlton appeared before Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt on 4 charges, including last week's double shooting in Victoria Gardens. Prosecutors allege that Charlton is responsible for the August 14th killing of immigration officer Lanisha Ambrister and the attempted murder of Drazen Dean. According to police, the victims were in a black Toyota Passo last Saturday when they were stopped at an intersection of Victoria Boulevard and Meadow Street by the occupants of a gray Jeep, who opened fire on them, killing Ambrister and wounding Dean. Charlton is also charged in connection with the August 9th shooting death of Dino Brown on Marshall Road and the attempted murder of Dennis Bowles. According to police, 2 men were standing outside a home off Marshall Road when a dark-colored Jeep pulled through the corner and 2 men exited. One of the gunmen was armed with a handgun while the other had a rifle. They allegedly shot at the men, killing one of them and seriously injuring the other. Charlton's co-accused Brandon Pinder recently appeared before the chief magistrate. Charlton was not required to enter a plea and will return to court on December 6 for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. He was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. For the Guardian News Network, I'm Gillian Gray.
The Free National Movement's chances of getting the support of workers in the country is non-existent. That's from Trade Union Congress President Obie Ferguson, who said workers will vote their interest. Here's Berthany McDermott.
I'm not going to support you if you don't support me. Simple. And that's my message to the workers.
Weeks before voters head to the polls, Trade Union Congress President Obie Ferguson is predicting the Free National Movement will not get workers' support. He said workers' agenda will play an important role in which party they support.
That's obvious when you look at what's happened in BPL, when you look at what's happening at water and sewage, when you look at what's happening with the Educators Union, and when you look at all the unions, National Insurance, all of the unions, I mean, you can't expect me to support you if you are failing to do that which you ought to do.
Ferguson said he finds government's treatment of workers strange, considering the role the trade union movement plays in the country's development. According to the TUC president, during the Minnis administration's term in office, a number of decisions were made without union input, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic.
But you must understand, the system was not structured for you alone to speak on everything, and you be the beginning and the end of everything. That just does not work. What's the point of sending your kids to university or college? University of the Bahamas. What is the significance of that? For them to have a different outlook and
Ferguson said news of an early election didn't surprise him in light of a days-long sick-out in the public healthcare sector. Since then, Bahamas Power and Light workers have walked off the job, and the Bahamas Union of Teachers is threatening industrial action.
You have X period of time to do it. You didn't do it. You don't want to do it. You don't think you should be discussing it with with the working people. So what do? You have to do what you have to do. And
now, back in May, the labor movement released the Workers' Agenda, which is a list of 13 demands they say political parties must agree to before they can get their support. Now, Ferguson says the labor movement only met with the PLP, the Coalition of Independents, and the DNA on these matters. When asked if there's a chance the FNM can still meet with them, Ferguson says it's a bit too late.
The House is not being dissolved. I'll take care of that. So on what basis could a government attempt to address the amendments to the Employment Act, the Industrial Relations Act, or the Occupation, Health and Safety Act?
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Political parties kicking their election campaigns into high gear last night following the announcement of the election date. From signs plastered across the island to political gatherings, candidates have pulled out all the stops in an effort to sway voters. Kyle Joaquin takes a look.
To say election fever is in the air would be an understatement. There are signs literally everywhere. Just take a look behind me. There is signage in the grass and even in the trees. It's almost as if political parties were ready and just had to press play. By Thursday evening, signage was all along the streets. Whether it read, "It's about your day," the PLP and FNM wasting no time painting the town yellow and red.
Right now, as it stands, we're looking to put up at least 1,000 between here and Barmar.
1,000 between here and Barmar?
Because the Prime Minister got 3,000.
We found these PLP supporters on Go Slow Bend playing catch-up, putting down thousands of lawn signs.
We got from Kalani start from right here to Lightfoot Key, so it's about probably 6 miles we got to cover, 6 by 4. And we coming straight around.
Those lawn signs were on just about every road. Mere moments after the Prime Minister's announcement, video ads from both major parties were released.
Focusing on saving lives and livelihoods. And while we have more to go, better days are ahead.
I'm Mario Bolay.
I'm Marcus Roll.
I'm Wade Watson. And I'm Leo Lightbourne.
The FNM focusing on the pandemic and the PLP focusing on its new faces, parties began rolling out their new ads with the swiftness. The excitement felt in just about each constituency, here and on the Family Islands.
They say can't count. But when the poll closes, every ballot will be counted. And the victory will be
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is set to give another national address on Sunday. In the meantime, parties appear to be in full campaign mode, sure to make this a busy 4 weeks. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
As campaign season ramps up, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pearl McMillan is calling for safe campaigning and adherence to COVID protocols. It comes as the country battles a third wave of cases with both major hospitals at capacity.
Certainly we anticipate that the public health measures, the protocols that we would have put in place will continue to be followed. If we were to move in the direction of, an election or, we would have to take into consideration those measures in order for us to keep the people safe and to keep safe, as we do what is required for the country.
FNM Chairman Carl Culmer defending the Minnis administration's term in office. He's confident Bahamians will re-elect them to office. Berthany McDermott has the story.
He admits that the Free National Movement government has failed to deliver on multiple promises due to shifting priorities, but party chairman Carl Culmer says there is no better team to take the country forward.
There's no reason for Bahamians to change captain in the middle of a crisis.
On Thursday, Parliament was dissolved and Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced that the general election will take place on September 16th. As of Wednesday morning, over 1 voter register. However, it is unclear how many names were added before the register was closed. Culmer called on voters to return the FNM to office when they head to the polls. He said despite the challenges the government has faced, the FNM's record is unmatched.
Yes, the FNM hasn't done everything that they promised to do. Yes, the FNM may have did some things that we thought they should have done in terms of bringing some bills forward, but they understand, and I trust my Bahamian people. They understand that at the end of the day, this government is the best government to lead this nation.
Shortly after the Prime Minister's election announcement, the FNM painted the town red, planting lawn signs across New Providence. Colmer said Minnis had been hinting at an early election and the party is ready.
You asked if the party is ready. The government has brought in a number of vaccines to get the country prepared. We need to get the country and on a steady course towards bringing back. And the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, along with his team, have organized that persons can get vaccinated. And so at the end of the day, we need to get this country moving. We need to get this country back on course. And at the end of the day, I think we're all ready.
The question for many is how will election campaigns look this political season at a time when both public and private hospitals are overwhelmed with COVID patients and numbers are rising? Colmer wouldn't say too much about the FNM's campaign plans, but insisted political events will be scaled down. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Berthany McDermott.
You're listening to the Evening Report on the Guardian News Network. Stay with us. There is more news coming up.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Our free pick pack delivery service gives everyone in the Family Islands a chance to shop a variety of club products and prices right from home. Simply call or WhatsApp your order to 242-677-7266 or email order@amlfoods.com. A friendly customer service representative is waiting to pick, pack, and deliver your order to the mailboat of your choice. The options are truly endless, and with membership you save even more. So order today and let Cosтрite pick, pack, and deliver right to you.
Brother Major jump off the boat onto Port-of-Ski and make a beeline to Sun Isles. Tell Miss Wallace them, I need a battery for this, a battery for that, and a battery for this. You got them? She say, man, you joking? I'll put a battery in you too. Major say, you mean you can still energize this old bunny? She say, man, we'll give you one good overall service, lubricate your 21 joules, then jumpstart your lithium battery, man, you'll be good as new. Major say, well, I didn't know you could do all of that. She say, well, of course I can, because that's the kind of me I am.
Sun Isles Watch & Clock, number 112 Montrose Avenue. Watch & Clock sales and repairs for over 40 years.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Evening Report on the Guardian News Network. Doctors Hospital defending the cost of its COVID-19 test. CEO Dr. Charles Diggis asserting the exercise isn't free for the hospital. Jared Higgs tells us more.
During the course of the pandemic, as COVID-19 tests became mandatory for domestic and return travel home, many complained that the costs of the tests were prohibitive. Doctors Hospital is among the leading private institutions providing the service.
The testing is not free at this hospital, unlike the provision of the vaccines.
Doctors Hospital's RT-PCR test costs $134.40, while its rapid antigen tests cost $22.40. CEO Dr. Charles Diggis says if government would have provided the test kits, the hospital would have conducted testing for free.
So if Doctors Hospital was in a position where we were provided or given testing resources free, then absolutely, we would be willing to convert that into a free testing service and simply address the coverage of the cost that we incur for the administration.
In any event, Diggis says Doctors Hospital has the most affordable tests on the market.
But I think the public just needs to appreciate then that Doctors Hospital continues to carry the lowest cost in the rapid antigen testing and the RT-PCR testing space, because we understand that it is important to allow the public to access the need for tests and the testing without having a big impediment like costs.
PLP leader Philip Davis has promised free testing if his party comes into power. Others point out that testing is free for persons displaying COVID symptoms. But critics of government's testing regime say more widespread testing would lead to earlier detection of COVID outbreaks. PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell says it's the government's responsibility, not Doctors Hospital.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Jared Higgs.
15 businesses will be displaying their goods in the open lot across from Golden Gates Church on Saturday during an initiative designed to assist entrepreneurs in the community. It's the brainchild of DNA candidate Lamont Nixon, who says the need for more business opportunities was a concern.
Of the whole COVID situation, you had a lot of people just doing businesses from their home. So my thing was how can I best help them? So what I did, I just, started to think, and I was like, why don't we do a pop-up market so that we could, give them some sort of platform so that they could display what they're doing.
Entertainers from the community will perform from 12 to 5 p.m. Nixon says it will also create networking opportunities for small business owners.
And all the COVID-19 protocols are going to be in place, so you would have, of course, everybody will have to be 6 feet apart. Everything is still have to be exercised. And we will have people out there making sure that happens.
And that ends the evening report on the Guardian News Network. On behalf of the entire Guardian Radio News team, I'm Taylor Ferguson. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your evening and your weekend. AP News is coming up next.
Be outright prepared this hurricane season. Here's a preparedness tip from BOP. Consider how much water and food you need to store. The official recommendation is to store 1 gallon of water per person per day for drinking and sanitation purposes. At a minimum, store enough non-perishable food items for 3 days for your family. Be sure to store jarred and canned food in a cool, dry place so as not to compromise the quality of the contents. Be outright prepared this hurricane season. Follow UseBop on Facebook for more helpful tips.
Your big day coming, what you want?
I know, but yours ain't too far behind, eh? Anyhow, I want you to give me washing machine.
Washing machine? What you want washing machine for?
Well, since Junior working on the island now and 3 people got to use your car, I figured we could wash right here.
You got line, eh? What we can talk about?
That's true.
If you wash here, how we can catch capsaicin?
That's true, eh?
And if you ain't got no line, how we post to drying if you wash here?
That's true.
Okay, so what you want Junior get you again?
$1,600 worth of tokens. That's how much the washing machine costs.
Now you're talking, and I'll reserve the car for every Saturday.
Gone for that. So what you want for your big day?
Half of them tokens.
My Lord.
So we wash. We washes you, cleans you, presses you 24/7.
Stay connected. Push to talk connected from Cable Bahamas. Buy 5 push to talk devices and get 1 free. Stay connected with your crew wherever, whenever. Buy 5, get 1 free. Push to talk from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Service provided by Alive. Believe in best. For more information, email businesssolutions@cablebahamas.com or call 601-8911.
Limited time offer. Stipulations apply.
Wednesday Lampkin, you see my new displays out front? I say, you mean the concrete part there? And the granite one? I say, that makes sense. Now people who've been meaning to stop by to see what you got, but always been short on time, could get a glimpse whilst they're waiting on the light. He said, you got it. And since now they got that image in their head, they make it a point to come back because now they almost know what they want. That way you call a subterranean message. That's a technique they just use in the States. Hindertal for all things concrete, like statues, pots, urns, patio stones, parking blocks, and finishes.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
In a final look at traffic this afternoon, we can see really slow traffic getting through the West Bay traffic. It's being held up in a bumper-to-bumper ride and some wait time heading into the west along West Bay Street. From Chippenham Road, it's really a slow ride into that Saunders Beach roundabout area. West Bay traffic going into the roundabout, coming in from the other direction, that is wait time just to get into that circle. The West Bay Street ride going east, moving into that circle, is very slow and busy right now. That's really a strange sight to see at this hour. All of that Friday afternoon traffic still hanging up out here on Nassau Street. Once the other drive, Wolf Road, and still very busy all with traffic. Market Street, one-way ride south, once you cross Wolf Road, both lanes are stacked going into that Robinson Road area. And then Blue Hill Road and East Street, the corridors coming off Robinson Road, getting to the roundabouts and heading south, down they are all stacked. And it's running slow. It's bumper to bumper getting through there. Independence Drive, the east lane's got 2 heavy lines of traffic that's feeding into that East Street roundabout, slowing that area down. Soldier Road is seeing a heavy Friday afternoon flow passing Abundant Light and the Kennedy subdivision area. In the Deep South, not so bad as yet. It's crowded, mind you. That Carmichael Road and Blue Hill Road intersection is quite busy, but the ride home along Carmichael Road from there clears up as you get deeper into the southwest. Classen Road, South Lane, traffic has calmed down, and the south end of Samalabad Highway, seeing a minor busy traffic flow, but then that's about it. This National Traffic Report this hour being brought to you by J.S. Johnson, the only insurance agents and brokers giving the peace of mind of the Bahamas for over 100 years. Call them at 397-2100. That's 397-2100 for more info. With your Riders Got a Look at traffic in real time, I'm VAAA.
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Prudential Loss Adjusters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From automobile to home to life and liability, construction and business insurance, Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
AP News, I'm Tim McGuire. The U.S. government faces a number of hurdles in the effort to get American citizens and allies out of Afghanistan. Ed Donahue has more.
The pledge from President Biden.
Any American who wants to come home, we will get you home.
It's been a violent scene outside the Kabul airport as Americans and Afghans try to get out. Just who is there is not clear.
Don't have the exact number of people who are Americans who are there. And those who may have come home to the United States. We want to get a strong number as to exactly how many people are there.
The president is facing criticism over the handling of the withdrawal of U.S. troops.
There'll be plenty of time to criticize and second guess when this operation is over. But now, I'm focused on getting this job done.
Evacuation flights have resumed at the Kabul airport. They had been delayed for hours. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Senior U.S. military officials tell the Associated Press a helicopter picked up nearly 100 Afghans, mostly women and children, from Camp Sullivan near Kabul airport and ferried them to the airport today. People in the Northeast and New England readying for what could be Hurricane Henri. Robin Berthoud sailed his boat from Connecticut to Plymouth, Massachusetts to get it out of the water and store it on dry land.
The insurance company's attitude is pull your boat, it's safer, less damage can occur, and it's cheaper for them in the long run.
National Hurricane Center Director Ken Graham says the storm will be a soaker.
On Sunday, the system slows down, and that could prolong the rainfall, increase the chance for flooding, and definitely an impact to the wind. Down trees, power lines, so there's some significant impacts associated with this system.
Henri is expected to become a hurricane tomorrow. It's been 30 years since New England